Hey y'all, happy Saturday. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. I can't believe the week went by so fast and I didn't even do anything. Like I went to the movies Monday and I was on winter break with me and my son, and charter school had winter break too. And I'm getting over a cold. I'm better, much better now. I was drinking my tea, my orange juice, and I'm much better, but I still got a little bit of mucus. But I wasn't going to do a video, but I'm like, yo, I have to do a video about this movie to let my ladies, specifically single mothers. I can't stress this. I always talk about it because I'm a single mom. And we all want that Prince Charming. I think I speak for all single moms. You want a man to step up and be a dad to your child or children. That man that's, you just want a family. It's just a normal thing. You do have a few women that they wanted to have kids. They didn't necessarily want the man. But naturally, when as a single mom or a single woman, you want that family dynamic. And having a child, you long for that, especially if the father's not really, much of a man, or, he's not really, he doesn't have a job, or he's not very positive. I'll say that. Some of us, we didn't make the right decisions in who we procreated with, so naturally you want that father figure for your son, especially. So Tubi, shout out to Tubi. Y'all know I love me some Tubi. And brand new movie. I already knew like certain things were gonna happen. You know how you some movies are a little predictable. This particular movie, there was twists and turns, and it was so good, y'all. It's called The Stepdaughter. So the stepdaughter, the one who plays the wife, she's a familiar face. She's actually been in a few Tubi movies. And the guy who plays the husband, he's the villain in every movie. So I already kind of knew watching it, like, yeah, he's the villain. So he light-skinned guy, whatever. So basically, she's a single mom with $1 million company, very successful. She has 2 boys. She has a 12-year-old, and the other one was older. And she gets with this guy that has a daughter. Now, the first red flag for me is, like with me when I spoke previously, one thing I never understood about some women is, how can you date a man that's not involved with his child or children? So for me, if I'm dating a person who has a daughter, I'm going to want to know why you don't see her. Understandable, she might be a teenager or whatever, but you should make it your business. I'm sure she's in a sport or doing something. You should be at her games. You should be, of course she has her own social life and stuff, but as a father, you should be there. So my thing with the mom, Whitney, she she never questions him about, what's good with you and your daughter relationship. Throughout the time that they date, she never made it her business to meet his daughter. So basically, she knew he had a daughter. He would talk about her all the time, but she basically didn't care because he took care of her boys. But he only was doing that because he was trying to get to her money. And I wanted to say that I had made a comment on somebody's YouTube, but a lot of these men, you have to be, as a single mother specifically, when you have your own place, some of you may own your own homes. Whatever you have to be careful, because some of these men are homeless. Like literally, like they get with women for a place to stay and for money. So unfortunately, in this movie, that's what he got with her. for her money. So she was on medication and stuff like that, and basically his daughter shows up at their front door one day, right? Because the grandmother had passed away. So me dating someone with a daughter, I would be like, well, why she never live with you? Like, if you meet a guy and he says he got a daughter, my question is why she don't live with you, or why she don't, or if she doesn't live with you, it should be a situation where she living with the mom or whoever your daughter's staying with. You should be co-parenting with that person. It's like, why are you not involved? That's why women who have kids, they have kids with these men, and that he wasn't taking care of their first child. So what makes you think he's going to take care of your child? Like, I just never understood women like that. Because with me, if I find out or know you have a child and you're not really stepping up to be a dad, I'm not dating you, because it shows what type of man you're not. It shows your character. It shows that you're not a good person. Like, so that's why, even though it's a movie, it's very realistic, because you have women who don't care. They feel like, oh, okay, whatever. He take care of my boy, so whatever. So that was the scenario here. Like, he didn't take care of his daughter, and she never pushed him to have a relationship with his daughter. So karma came to her. So this girl comes up to his front door, and she starts doing weird things, like breaking the urn. Her mom passed away, and she put her ashes in an urn. The girl breaks it, right? Then her credit card is missing. Then she ends up in a hospital with her 2 arms slashed. And it's sad because, the girl does this. But as you're watching the movie, and if you're a fan of this Tubi guy, he actually was on a BET episode of Story to Tell, and he was like an extreme mama's boy, and it wasn't even the mother's fault. He was crazy. Like, this particular guy, he always plays the villain, So I already knew, yeah. And then there was a movie where he was a cop. He was a dirty cop. Like, he's always playing the part of a villain. So basically, another red flag. First of all, she has a sister and her husband is a cop. And it's always good to have a family member in law enforcement, because it's good to try to get close to them, because if you're dating someone or whatever, they could do a thorough background check. And I can't stress that enough. On a serious note, single mothers, when you're dating someone, you have to do background checks on these men. You have to. A lot of these men are into some weird stuff, and you don't want to get up in that, right? They could introduce your children to things that's not safe. We live in a real world. We do. So if you have a family member in law enforcement, please, I don't care if it's a long distance relative in Georgia, I don't care, whatever. Or if you don't want to go to them for them to do the background check, then you do your own background check. You do your own research. You Google whatever. So basically, they in the bedroom, and he finally tells her that he was a deadbeat. He told her to her face. They're married now. And he tells her to her face, whatchamacallit? What did I say? I had to think about what he said. So they in the room, and she's like, they just casually talking. And he says that when she was 12, that he was getting drunk all the time and drinking and left her by herself. If a man, I don't care. If a man told me I don't care. because I'm a parent and I have parents. So when it comes to parenting, I'm very strict on it. I don't care. You are not supposed to, because if you treat your daughter like that, your only child, you abandon her. You're telling me to my face, oh yeah, when she was 12, I got drunk and left her by herself, and she went to the store and the police got to her, and I pretty much lost custody, and that's why she ended up living with her grandmother. Like, first of all, I'm going to ask you that before it even gets that far, to be honest. Like, in the dating stage, before I even agree to be your girlfriend, I'm going to ask you about your child or children. Like, that's just me. That's just how I am, right? I'm very, like, I don't play that. You know, I'm very family orientated. You know, I'm an only child, but I have parents, and I don't have the best relationship, but being a parent is important. I have a son. I'm not no deadbeat. So I'm not going to allow deadbeat behavior. Oh, everybody has a past. No. For me personally, and this is just me, certain past I'm not tolerating. Oh, I used to be on drugs. No, thank you. Oh, I used to be a drunk. No, thank you. Oh, I used to be just sex addiction. No, thank you. I used to sleep with prostitutes. No, thank you. I used to be addicted to strip clubs. No, thank you. Like, I have a standard. Everybody is, a past is something like, oh, when I was in college, I cheated on my girlfriend when I was like 25. That I could forgive. But addictions and being a deadbeat and I used to sell drugs, or I went to, like I told you about the guy I met off Facebook. He was a CEO. He was paid. Trust me, like, he was paid. But he went to jail for child porn. No, thank you. I don't care how much you make. And God has blessed me to be observant, to have discernment, for real. Because a lot of these guys is crazy, like, for real, in real life. And so, she made a boo-boo there. A man he's telling you to your face that, I left my daughter by herself when she was 12. I'm filing for divorce. Like, I don't need to hear no more. Like, first of all, I'm going to find that out before I say, like I said, before I even agree to be your girlfriend, I would find that out. Because I ask a lot of questions. And a lot of people say that, you ask a lot of questions. I sure do. Because you are a person that's coming into my life and my child's life. So I need to make sure I'm making a good decision. I don't need to make another bad decision. So, yeah. And too many times you hear about women, even on Fatal Attraction. Now, we all know Fatal Attraction on TV One. Those are all real stories. How many stories do we see that, these women were fine and happy by themselves, and they get with these men and die? It's sad. It's really sad. Like, a click of a button just to look on somebody's background could really save your life. So her sister, who's married to the cop, he did some research, but he said that Michael, the scary thing was Michael, her husband, had a clean record, but they found out that the girl, that's not her real name, Joanne. So that's where it stops. But she didn't even bother to do her own search. She was just relying on her brother-in-law. So that's why I say it's so important. Do your own research. There's a website called beenverified.com. I'm going to put it in the description box. But I'm so serious to my single mothers, when you're dating, you need to go on that website and you have to put the first and last name, If it's a general name, and what do I mean by general name? If the person's name is Christopher Williams, that's a very, very general, or I should say popular name. You're going to need a middle name, right? Names like Christopher Williams, Charlie Wilson, anybody who has a Wilson, Smith, Brown last name, you're going to have to put in a middle initial straight off the bat, because those are very popular last names, right? Wilson, Smith, and Brown. Washington, that's a very popular name in the black community. Yeah, you have to do your research on these men. And sometimes you don't know, it's true. But another mistake that this single mother made, she got married so quickly. And a lot of the times, it happens because you fall for a person. I totally get it. But when you have children, your children come first. Their safety comes first. Because you don't know who you bringing in your home. And in this case, she brought 2 murderers in her house. Her husband, and when you're watching the movie, it's like he disappears. So the final straw was the girl is trying to get empathy from the brother, because she was on to her. She was on to her. And she said it to her face. She was like, my children are not to be with you nowhere unless if your father or me is present. So, she didn't trust it because things were starting to come up. She was selling makeup products. And the only person that was around was the girl, Joanna, a.k.a. Maggie. She found out her real name was Maggie. So she had put Lye, Lye, in her thing, and the chemist got back to her or whatever. And then she made the mistake of leaving her medications around, because if you think somebody did that to your makeup, you got to kick them out the house. Like, at that point is no, she either I go or she goes type stuff. So I guess she was still afraid, or she wasn't thinking, because she's like, this is my husband's daughter. I love my husband. I don't know. It's a movie, but it really gets you to thinking, like, how far some people would go. First of all, I'm very spiritual. So any negative vibes that I feel, I go with it. Especially now that I'm older, I go with it. You have to, especially when you have children. Your first instinct as a mother is to protect them. So she thought she was a good girl. She's like, oh, okay, whatever. She didn't think anything of it. And sometimes it be like that. Sometimes it really do be like that. Sometimes when you meet someone, they're not what they seem. They do seem nice until things happen and you like, oh my God. So sometimes it do be like that. It do. Yeah, so she found out that, thankfully from her brother-in-law, that the girl real name was Maggie. So she's like, well, why didn't you tell me that her real name is Maggie? Ladies, if a man withholds information about one thing and then it's like this is turning into 2 and 3 and 4 lies, he is a liar, right? Now, people say, oh, everybody lies. Yes, when it comes to white lies, such as like, let's say if you want something from the store, right? Let's say something simple. Let's say you want honey buns from the store, and your husband goes to the store and he didn't bother to look. He just might feel lazy. It's a big ass, like most grocery stores are very big. So let's say if it's like the main thing you go into the store for is like bread. She's like, oh, you going to the store for bread? Can you get me some honey buns? He may not feel like going all the way to the other side of the grocery store just to get to your honey buns. So he might say they didn't have it. That's what you call a white lie. We all human. I'm pretty sure everyone's done that. I've never done it because I have corner stores around me. But for the people who's blessed enough to live in the suburbs, they might do that, right? Am I keeping it real or not? Those of y'all who live in small towns and suburbs, somebody in your household wants something like ice cream or honey buns, you're not going to go all the way to the other side of the store to look for that. You're going to be like, fuck that. I don't feel like looking for it. And just tell the person, hey, they ain't have it. That's what you call a white lie, right? We all human, right? That's understandable. But when it comes to serious things like how their child's mother passed away, what their daughter name is, that's what you like, serious stuff, right? So at the very end of the movie, of course, he arrives because he basically was the brains behind everything that girl was doing. And I figured that watching it, like, a lot of movies that show bad children, they always show it like the children are bad for no reason. But the reason why I like this movie so much is because it's not even her fault. It's her father's fault. And the crazy part about it is the sister found out, Whitney's sister found out that she didn't, the mother didn't die by car accident. Like he said how, she, car accident or whatever. She died by a car accident. Come to find out, no, it was like stuff in her cocaine and tenzamine in her medication or whatever. And the daughter didn't know nothing about it because you could tell because from the reaction, like, because the sister was under the impression that the girl killed her own mother. But then when they start fighting, whatever, she approaches her, which you never should do that. I don't care if the person is 13 years old. You never approach a crazy person because they got that retarded strength. Right? So, yeah, like, it was so crazy. So she gets to the house and she's like, I know what you did and it's in this file and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Your mother ain't died by no car accident, whatever. She didn't know because of the reaction she had from the folder. So that's when I realized, like, oh, the little, the girl, Joanna, Maggie, whatever, she didn't know or whatever. Come to find out, the father is the one who killed the mother. And she kept saying, you killed my mom. You killed my mom. And you can't help but to feel bad for the girl because he really messed up her life from start to finish. He messed up her life. He would leave her by herself, and then the grandmother was taking care of her, and he never stepped up to be a dad. And finally, when she pops up, it's like, oh, I want you to help me get rid of this family, get rid of the boys, and the lady and his wife. Like, he literally married her for money. It's crazy. Like, and like I said, yes, it's a movie, but you have to be careful with who you bring in your household, with who you marry, with who you date, and it was sad because she had 2 boys. She was divorced and vulnerable. It's hard not to be vulnerable, but you have to be discerning. Like, discernment will take you places that a background check can't. Because sometimes with these background checks, they can't detect everything. It could show up that they have a clean record. It could show that they never did anything, but in reality, they did. I know with Google, for instance, after a certain amount of time, when somebody commits a crime, it literally erases. It's gone. So, yeah. But check it out. Tubi, The Stepdaughter. Y'all have to see it. Every single woman, single mother, these men that have kids, trust and believe. And I'm going to end on this note. And I don't care how nobody feel. Any man that doesn't take care of his kids ain't shit. I'ma say it again. If he don't take care of his kids for any reason, delete his number, and you should not be dating someone like that. And if you date him and you get with him, karma will come to you tenfold. And those are my thoughts.